Recording in progress.
No, she's the end of October.
So let's call the meeting to order. And first item is, are there any additions or modifications to the agenda? And there is one. Folks will remember, it goes back years now, that John Donaldson built a pond on his property at the corner of Ralston Road and East Warren Road, and the fire department requested the installation of a hydrant. And we have a proposal for that and ran into some snags and want to put it on the agenda to discuss tonight. And I'd like to do that first, unless there's any changes to the consent agenda. And the reason I'm asking that, we've had a request, it was, email was attached to the agenda from Betty Ann, I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Libby.
Libby, that's right, to allow for the installation of the pennants on Bridge Street again for the 5th year, or would be this
This
the
was
6th
the
year?
5th year.
This was the 5th year.
It'll be the 6th.
So it's on the consent agenda, which means that we're going to go ahead and approve it unless somebody takes it off and we discuss it. And if there's no interest in taking it off, you can consider it approved by the end of the meeting.
Okay, great.
Go home and have dinner.
I will say that the next item on the agenda is public forum, if you want to say anything about it. I will say that it's great, I think it's appreciated.
Thank you. Well, the artists have a good time making them, and I see people on Bridge Street. I think it's just a whole other addition to Bridge Street, and I personally like free public art.
Yep.
Because I find that walking into a gallery can be intimidating, but this way you don't have to plan it. You just see it.
I think it's wonderful. Other towns have pre-made, bought
Right.
stuff from the store. And having our own art, I think, is just very special.
Well, they do a lot. It takes hours and hours for each person to paint it, so.
What happens to them after the season?
Well, so far we've sold one.
Do you return them to the artist, or?
The artists get them back, and then there's another one that's of the covered bridge, you might have seen it. And that was done in collaboration with John Anderson and Tommy O'Grady, who's like 11 years old, and he goes to Waitsfield, and Tommy's been mentored by John Anderson, so they did it together. And his mom wants to buy it. But, yeah, so basically, there are these signs there, and you can contact the artist if you like any of them.
So again, it's on the consent agenda, it's just automatic approval when we get to there.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go. But thanks for the invite. And thanks for approving.
Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Thank
And I
you.
can leave this if any of you want to look at it, and you can
Oh,
hang it
sure.
up. It's only gonna be up one more week. And then it'll be back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And by the way, I recycled the banner material. I organized an exhibit in Massachusetts called Studios Without Walls. And the town makes us these huge banners. So when I saw the banner arms here, I got permission to do it. I cut the banners to fit those posts, sewed them on my 1901 white rotary machine. Just so that, there's stuff you have to do to prep them. Anyway, it's all good, and thank you, enjoy, and
Thank you.
Thanks.
see you next
Thank you.
time.
Definitely.
So anyone else here for public comment, public forum? John, want to come up? So this came to my attention right before York left. And you can correct me if I make any mistakes, John. We had an estimate at one point for the installation to cost $10,000, which maybe it would have 4 years ago.
It would have, presumably back in '22.
And that's what we put in the budget. And we had one proposal. And did York solicit the proposal?
I got this today from Chris Griffin. I sort of feel like I'm representing York because he left, and I'm not sure he actually got this final set of numbers.
I don't think he did, because he
No.
told me it was 24,000.
Well, what happened is,
Plus Colbert.
apparently
What was that
both the
person?
contractor, I'll
That was
explain.
plus the Colbert, but
Oh,
John,
the Culver,
John,
got it, yeah.
yeah.
The fire department, the road department and Chris all think it makes sense to put a culvert along Ralston Road and cover it. And that way trucks can get in, equipment can get in, and they want to leave it up even after the installation because there may be maintenance required and it would just be a lot easier to get in there. The hydrant itself is deep, the line is going to be very deep, like 6 feet. There's already 3 sections in with a gate valve, and so this work is to extend it out to the road and put the hydrant in. And it's more complicated than I thought because what the fire department wanted was what's called a wet hydrant, which means the pipe's full of water and the hydrant's full of water, and so every truck in the fire department can draw water, whereas if it's a dry hydrant where the pipe's empty and you just have to suck it out of the pond, which often fails, by the way, there's only a couple vehicles that can actually pump that. But, for that extra convenience, it's a lot more expensive. They gotta put the pipe deeper. The hydrant itself has to be full of water to use it, but in the winter, it actually has to be drained down. The water would stay in the pipe, but you drain the hydrant, and so there's a big bed of sand and crushed stone that you have to put in underneath. So just getting that material in and being able to repair it and access it in the winter is why they decided that a covered culvert was a good idea, to just leave it in there permanently. So this is the current estimate.
I didn't think to, when Larissa and I were talking about putting the agenda together, she asked about this, and I said, I didn't know that it was like so pending that Griffin was about to set up on the site, and I wanted York to be here
Yeah.
to put it on the agenda and wait until that, because his comment was, I don't know where the money's coming from.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge, a communication challenge, personnel's turned over the years. Every summer, there was a different reason why it didn't get done. Last year, because of the floods, you all asked Chris to do a lot of other work for the town, and so he didn't have time to do it. But this year it's dry, and he has the time, and he was ready to go. But the whole communication about the cost and everything
Yeah.
sort of fell through the cracks.
So, and I did look into it a little bit, there is a rural fire protection grant program that is explicitly, for Vermont, that explicitly pays for dry hydrants and similar hydrants. And the last application deadline, there was 3 this year, is April, July, or April, June, and August, assuming the next one would be next year. I'm wondering how urgent it is from your perspective, and
Well,
if we could.
I don't really have a dog in this hunt. I mean, it's gonna be on my property. I've given the town an easement. I voluntarily, when we were building the pond, thought it would be a good idea and
It is, we really
reached out to
appreciate
Tripp. And it's apparently needed in that part of town.
Yep.
I know when Gib Geiger had a fire at his house about 5 years ago, they went to the closest dry hydrant and they couldn't get any water. So Tripp was really anxious to
I did
have a
talk
wet
to the
hydrant.
chief today, let him know it was on the agenda.
Yeah.
His comment was, hadn't this been going on for 4 years? I think so.
No, I mean, the only inconvenience to me is the field gets torn up and then it gets reseeded. It's not a big deal. So it's
I'm
really.
wondering seasonally, I mean, you want to do it before the ground freezes, obviously.
Yeah, you got to do it before the ground freezes.
I'm just wondering if the bid will still be there in a couple of weeks, and we sit down with York and look at the budget and see if there might be some money.
Yeah, realistically, this is not what any of us want to do, I think, but it sounds like if we have to drain it come wintertime anyway, by the time we put it in, we're gonna get,
Well, it'll still be usable in the winter. It's just,
But it needs
when you
to-
turn it on, the water's got to go from the underground pipe straight up. So it's sort of an instantaneous thing, but the water's got to get below the freeze.
So that
freeze
doesn't
level.
require the special pump truck?
No, not at all.
And that's why it's
So it can
60
be
feet.
used all winter. Got it.
Yeah, it can be used all year round.
Can you explain the need for the culvert again?
The culvert?
Yeah,
Well, I only know what I was told.
Okay, yeah, that's-
I saw a couple people on my field last week, and I went down to talk to them, and it was the road foreman, whose name I've forgotten, I'm sorry.
Josh.
Josh, yes, and Chris Griffin, and actually Chris's uncle, who did all the work on my property, and he lives north of here, but he agreed to come back and do this work because he put everything in originally, and he was familiar with it. Chris had carved out the time. I have no idea what his schedule is, but
Yeah.
I think, as you say, Brian, until the ground freezes, it can be done.
But the culvert again, where's that?
So the culvert, I'm sorry. When everybody met, they said, we've got to get sand, we've got to get stone, we've got to get pipe onto the property. And there's a very deep swale there on Ralston.
On the Ralston side.
Ralston Road. So they thought they would put in a temporary culvert
On the Ralston Road.
on Ralston Road.
Okay.
And, put a culvert in, put some material on top and be able to drive in. And then Josh said, if you're gonna do that, you should just leave it in, because it'll be a lot easier for the fire department to get a small truck in there if they need to do any service work
And it's on the Ralston Road.
on the Ralston Road.
So, maybe there's, looking at our bridge and culvert fund to help pay for it would be a possibility for replacing a culvert.
So I'm not fully understanding the necessity. They can't
Well-
access the hydrant?
I mean, I'm not the expert. You can question whether it's really a necessity, but somehow they have to get the material from the road onto the property.
And that
So there's-
requires going.
Well, I think they're gonna have sand in a dump truck and stone
Yeah,
in a
sand
dump
in a
truck.
There's a ditch on the side of Wilson Road to cross to get
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I already worked out with Chris, when he brings this excavator, he can actually get it, using the scoop, he can move it over the culvert.
Yeah.
But you can't get a truck in.
So this would provide access, not on the Ralston Road, but provide access to the hydrant.
Yes,
Okay, which does make sense to have a permanent culvert.
yeah.
So we can't get to the hydrant now? Is that what I'm understanding? We
Well.
have a hydrant that we can't utilize because.
We don't have a hydrant.
No, the
We don't have
hydrant,
a
the
hydrant.
hydrant will be right by the road.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the firemen can walk over and hook up their
Hook up,
hoses.
okay.
That's not an issue. It's really for construction and long-term maintenance is why these guys thought it would be a good idea to put a culvert in and leave it in.
Okay. Okay, now I'm beginning.
Yeah,
Now I'm beginning.
so, any ideas?
Just takes money.
So we put this back out to bid, we got one bid, or one quote.
York did say he had reached out to other contractors and and hadn't heard back from them by the time he left. I'm wondering about rebidding it or. Are you here for this?
No, I'm here for a different issue.
Okay.
It's
But you're agreeing.
Less important.
Is it on the agenda?
Huh?
Is it on the agenda?
No. I'm like a stand-in sort of guy.
Okay. Well, we did have a public forum where that's the time we take up things
That's
that
why I
are.
come, because I'm part of the public.
Okay.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong. It was just about the bridge, but I'd like.
Well, we'll talk about it
Yeah.
when we're done with
I
this.
can
Okay.
clear with you later. This is just for this job.
So want to wait until we can do a little research and maybe see if York might follow up with some of the other contractors?
That makes sense. We,
Yeah, I think I'd love to get it done before it stretches another year or two.
Yes.
But with the tripling of the cost estimate, probably is pretty,
And the cost isn't going to go down, right?
have we ever heard from anyone else, on this?
York said he was gonna reach out to Kingsbury, and I don't know.
But on this first iteration, we just heard from Griffin and Sons.
Yeah. Well, all things being equal, it makes sense to use people that built the pond and know where the pipe is and all, I mean, although it's pretty well marked, but.
Yeah. And, you know, it might not be out of line with what the current market is doing. And it would be good just to touch base with Josh too and the fire department, because I do remember Tripp saying that would be really helpful to be up there, as you said, when Gibbs House.
And just to confirm, this is for a wet.
I'm sorry?
This is for a wet hydrant.
Yes, this is for a
Yeah.
wet
Yeah,
hydrant.
I mean, the rural fire protection
Is it just
grant
dry
program
hydrant?
is just for dry hydrants, but it's $10,000 per project maximum grant. 25% local match required.
Yeah, you wonder why they wouldn't be willing to cover part of a dry or wet hydrant.
Yeah. John, can you remind us what work's already been done? You said they put some portions of the pipe in already? Maybe
It's
in the
been
pond.
about 4 years to the day when the pond got finished, and I reached out to Tripp before we finished the pond, and he said, yes, I want to do it. He talked to Chris Griffin about costs, and he said, I don't really have any money in the budget, but I have enough to put 3 sections of pipe in, because I mean, once the pond's built, you're sort of stuck, right? So the first section went in the pond. It's covered with a screen to keep material out. It's 10 feet long. And then there's another 10-foot section, and they put a gate valve in. So they shut the water off, and they put one more section and put a cap on the end.
So Tripp came to a board meeting and we okayed that.
Yeah.
And then we said we would put in the budget, whatever the estimate was, and at that time it was 10,000. We really haven't revisited it.
Yeah, did they give any indication how long they thought it would take them to do the work?
It's a couple days. I mean, you dig a hole and you put the pipe in and you backfill it.
Yeah,
It's not it's unfortunate. You need a lot of equipment and you need a lot of material, but it's not like weeks and weeks to get it done.
Yeah, the numbers, like using an excavator skid steer at a high end of a rate for that kind of equipment, it's almost 2 weeks. I'm coming up to almost 2 weeks of work, so something seems out of whack there. Like using $200 an hour, which is like a company I work for charges $125 an hour, so I'm being.
Yeah, I'm guessing that when he says equipment, he's including the pipe and the hydrant. Oh, no, the pipe's in the next line.
Yeah,
Pipe's in
typically,
the next line.
that's just
I don't-
equipment and the labor to operate it, the equipment and the operator would be included in that 14,629 usually. So yeah, to me it would be worth asking is how much time are you expecting to put in this, and how much markup are you putting on the materials, because this just feels high.
Yeah.
And it's a small job, and it's probably got a lot of other stuff going on.
Well, if you're gonna spend more time, you're gonna talk to York and others, maybe you just want Chris to come in to a meeting and explain it, or at
Or
least
York to
explain it
follow
well
up with
enough
it,
to
yeah.
York that,
Yeah.
because I can't translate it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
York's back in the next few weeks.
I think he's at our next meeting.
Our next,
Is that Larissa?
our next meeting is not until, so the schedule this month is a little bit wonky, so it's, I think, not until the 20-something.
27th, right? Which I'll go
Correct,
back on our
'cause-
usual fourth Monday.
But I'm pretty sure this was the only meeting that York said that he was gonna be missing.
Yeah, that's my understanding. So we can put it on the next meeting agenda and do a little bit of research for that.
Okay, thanks for your
And
time.
that's okay with you?
I'm the tail wagging the dog. It's,
No, but we.
I'd like to get it done, but you have
Yeah.
to make intelligent, thoughtful decisions about it, and, so be it.
And we still appreciate your making it happen if we can afford it.
What's the level of the pond?
Yeah.
My
that's it
pond
too.
is down about that much.
Well,
Really?
It's pretty good.
I have a
Really
spring
good.
that fills it that's 50 gallons a minute, but the water table's down so far that the spring's not running.
But your pond is maintaining.
Wow.
Yeah.
My pond is down probably 3 feet or something.
Yeah, me too.
So the first year first summer we were gonna do it, and it was dry, just like this.
Yeah.
And my pond started to fall, and I reached out to Tripp and I said, hey, brand new pond. Do you wanna throw good money after bad? We better wait, we better wait and see what we got here. And
Oh, yeah.
3 weeks later, came right back up.
Wow.
And it's been up ever since then until like a month ago.
Exceptional.
Well,
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
Now, did you want this?
Oh yeah, this, John, I think this was accidentally handed around.
Oh. You found this?
It was in the stack.
Oh, it was
but-
in the stack. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
what is it?
I didn't see it.
Secret document.
It's one of my part-time jobs.
Not relevant to us.
No. So we do have a public
Hi there.
forum for folks who can come in and talk about things that are on the
I
agenda.
really appreciate it. My name is John Broder, in case you don't know me. I live at 130 Bridge Street in Waitsfield, up at the bridge.
Yeah?
And I just have a question. Yeah.
Jennifer sent us an email about your question.
Yeah, and then with a picture of the whole scenario.
Can you maybe, I looked at it really quickly, got it this afternoon, maybe explain the situation?
Well, what it is they blocked all parking off towards the rail and the mailboxes on the right side going west into the bridge.
Yeah.
And then there's another guardrail there, but what it does is, this weekend when I was going around the neighborhood in my little wheelchair and stuff, it got so congested because they couldn't park there. People were parking in the travel lane and everywhere else. And so it's great that we have no parking, but where are they gonna put the parking to have these tourists easily get out of the car, take a picture, get back in?
So how was the no parking? I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no
Were there
idea
no
whose
parking
idea
signs?
it is.
No, it's striping on the pavement. on the
Yeah,
new
straight
pavement.
So they
on the
did stripe it.
pavement.
They did stripe it, and what previously was parking
Yeah.
is now marked no
No
parking.
parking.
It's marked on the pavement.
It's
Yeah.
marked on the pavement.
That's because,
Was this the attempt?
yes, I'm sorry, go ahead, Larissa.
Oh, so I was just gonna ask, is this part of the, because I think the initial intention in widening Bridge Street, or that area east of the bridge on Bridge Street, when it was repaved, was that there was a hope that there would be more sort of specifically delineated pedestrian access. Now, that's not necessarily what's happening, but that was sort of the closest thing that I could think of to explain why that might have happened.
Yeah.
But
That's exactly right, and I remember talking to Josh about doing something like the painting it green, or like they do for the bike lanes.
I love that
As
idea.
something to just differentiate it from a travel lane.
Yeah, because you don't need 8 feet of no parking zone. Just put a little green travel zone to continue the sidewalk. And then there'd be ample. That way tourists won't be going, oh, I can't even go there.
Yeah.
And so they're parking up as far as Funstein's, and just blocking driveways and getting into the travel lane.
Now, is this an ongoing thing, or is it a foliage thing?
It's a foliage thing, but because I just noticed it this weekend, it
The
was
markings
just
just went
applied.
in, I think,
Yeah.
right in the, it just got marked, the new pavement
Couple weeks
markings.
ago.
Yeah, and
Even weeks ago?
we just applied the end of last
Is it
week,
a week?
I
Yeah,
believe.
John said
First day.
a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I've been there for 45 years at my address and in the neighborhood for over 50. So I thought that was a pretty unthoughtful thing to do. At least allow 2 parking spaces there or something. And then there's 2 parking places by the Foley's. There's a curb. And then it gets too narrow for any more parking. So I believe you should have the option of be able to 2 cars here and still have that green stripe down for continue the sidewalk Because that only needs to be 3 feet wide or so.
Well, this is news to me. Haven't talked to our road commissioner who has,
I called Charlie earlier, but he didn't respond.
okay. We've been after, our crew to get to do the striping.
Yeah,
And we've been after V-Trans to get it done. They finally did their part.
right.
The yellow lines. So,
Finally they did, yes.
finally, yeah.
Because I had people in my lane when I was going up towards East Warren,
Yeah.
and they were in the middle of the road. They didn't know where it ended. So I had to swerve off the road into the ditch a little bit to, you know, have
And that
them
was a
figure
long
it
time
out.
with no yellow lines.
So
Yeah.
anyway, the line, it was a really good thing for these tourists that we have who don't know the roads.
So, we need to talk to Josh. I wanted to go out and look at it and
That would be
see
a
what's
really
going on.
wise idea. And I measured between the side of the road and when you're going towards the east from town, it does bow out a little bit, but all that's driveway. And so there's a parking lot for, Ilya, and then, the Smith's old house, which is the Foley's now,
Yeah.
garage, and then the Foley's. So that's all expanded, but then it crunches right when that curb comes in. And so it's just like a false sense of, you know, a lot of people are parking right in their driveway just because all they want to do is take a picture, you know? And so it'd be a nice, like, standing maybe in a couple places or
So
something.
let us look into it and
Please.
put it on the future agenda. on
Yeah.
the 27th. It'll probably stay where like it is unless Charlie and Josh have an idea to do something.
Yeah, I was hoping to talk to Charlie, but I didn't. But I did talk to my neighbors there, and they're feeling the same way.
Okay.
That it's just gonna become congested the further up the road it would get. And then people are driving, like, it'd be like the bridge. People are waiting for each other to go by in that bottleneck there.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say about that one.
Okay. All right, we'll
Thank you
we'll
for
look
coming.
into
Yeah,
it.
thanks for coming
Appreciate
in.
it.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Hey, Ben.
Good, thank you. Haven't seen you in a
Excellent. You
long
look
time.
great, I know.
Hanging in there.
You still painting?
Yeah. Well, I am, but not for money.
No?
I still climb a ladder, though. Can't keep me down.
All right, well, thanks for
But
coming
anyway,
in.
thank you very much for your attention, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
You
thank you.
Appreciate it. Does, Fred, did we get, estimate from Pring?
We did.
So next item on, so you wanna tell the story, we're having a furnace in the Waite House service last week, and they decided they wouldn't start it up again because it's,
It's got a CO leak in it. There's one.
Yeah, that's serious.
so, yeah, I told Marissa and I wasn't sure what the gas was, and CO is not a good gas to me.
No, it isn't. So
No, it is not.
he had to condemn it right on the spot. There's one stud that's holding part of the units together that is snapped off, and that's probably the cause. But anyway, a replacement of the same unit, only an updated model, is $10,039. And that's installation, the whole thing. It has a limited 15-year warranty on the heat exchanger, 1-year parts labor. And so the Waite House presently does not have heat.
Are there any, did he mention whether there might be any energy efficiency grants for anything? I mean, it's all, it's forced hot air, right? But it also, this is also
no,
water.
this is water. The forced hot air is generated from the hot water that this makes.
Okay, so this provides both
Hot
hot water
water,
and
Yes,
heat.
so we have neither in the Waite House at the moment. This will be basically a direct replacement. They just uncouple the pipes, pull the unit off the wall, put the new unit on the wall, recouple the pipes, so there's not a lot of extra plumbing or anything. It's basically the boiler section was aluminum, and it does corrode.
Yeah.
And the new unit, I believe, I understood was stainless steel. So it's same, it's a high efficiency unit, and our heating bills over there is only $2,000 a year, which astounds me.
I know. We
So-
pay more on cleaning than we do on heat
Yeah,
and hot water.
yeah.
And this
So,
is gas-fired?
yes, it is, yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't think this prevents us from exploring heat pumps in the future, which, you know, I know there's some historic preservation concerns, but would provide cooling and a more efficient heat for most of the year. Yeah, but I don't know that we would do that without a backup.
Yeah, you basically have to have this.
Yeah.
The municipal energy resilience program is what we're talking about.
Yeah, with Efficiency Vermont.
It's an extension of the state energy management program. I guess, yeah, Efficiency Vermont runs it.
What's it called? The
MERP, Municipal Energy Resilience Program. I've just glanced at the website, but,
You are a quick researcher.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
I have Google open.
So the General White House Commission has the heat pump, that whole discussion on our agenda for November.
Okay.
And since we're not worried about cooling in the next few months, gives us time to do the research and come up with a recommendation.
We do have, well, $44,000 in
44.
the White House Reserve Fund.
So I'd make a motion that we purchase this. It's basically an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
So I mean, the only hesitation would be to maximize efficiency and, you know, try to get away from fossil fuels. I do think it is, I don't know that we have a choice with, it's gonna be cold someday. I hope.
Not gonna be 80 forever?
Oh, come on. Yeah, and then we'll have unhappy tenants.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But it doesn't preclude a heat pump
No,
down the road or multiple.
that's a
heat pumps.
discussion that the
Yeah.
commission is looking into.
Mhm. Now, are there, the reserve funds, we've paid for the roof and
We paid for the roof.
the painting and everything
Yeah,
else.
we have just a few small items that we are waiting for the bill to come in. The cellular system for the fire alarm, they
Mhm.
put that in today.
Oh, good. And we will recover that.
Yes.
Lower monthly cost.
Yeah, and let me see here. The bill for the magnetic fire release on one of the doors upstairs, that bill is outstanding. And there's one other, so it's like $3,000. It's probably
Okay.
hanging out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And how about the lift? We paid,
Yeah, we paid for that.
yeah, I think
Pretty
so.
sure.
Pretty sure we
Yeah,
did,
yeah, I'm pretty sure we have. It's just those three items I think are hanging.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thanks, Larissa.
Do you want me to action that tomorrow? Or do you want to yourself, Brian?
Yeah, if you would, you've been talking with them? Yes.
Yep, thank you.
So the next item is consider application from Afterthoughts for a Class 2 liquor license to allow the sale of alcohol for off-site consumption. And also on the consent agenda is approving Afterthoughts Class 3 liquor license. We approved their Class 1 liquor license, I believe, and Emily is is with us here on Zoom. At our last meeting, and initially, our policy is to have, updated policy is to have liquor license holders come back 2 years after they get their initial license, just to check in, make sure everything's going well, that there aren't any problems. Jennifer raised the issue that this is really the first time they're getting off-site consumption liquor license. And just mentioned that maybe it would be better for the applicant to show up. Emily said that would be fine, had no problem with that. So I guess I'm just kind of wanted to ask how this differs from Afterthoughts as a bar restaurant, and kind of, are there any special requirements that the Department of Liquor Control requires? And I think, Larissa, you had similar questions?
Yes, I wasn't sure, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm unpacking as I say this. I wasn't sure if there were, sort of, if you're both serving on-site and serving things to be taken off-site, if there are specific requirements as to sort of making sure that it's clear which is which, because I'm pretty sure you're not, but this is also not my area of expertise, consume things that are purchased for off-site consumption on-site. So I was mostly just curious. I meant to do more research and I didn't get around to it, and I'm sorry.
Emily?
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I too learned a lot in applying for this license as well. So our first class allows us to serve at the bar. Our third class allows us to serve alcohol and cocktails and
Spirits,
whatnot. The second class, it has to be a separate retail location, not located inside the bar, and whatever we sell has to be taken off premise. So it is only to go, and it is mostly for, I want to say, so Peace Burger, he's our food vendor, and he gets a lot of questions about when we're not open during the day, he's serving lunch, and some people do ask for beer or, to-go drinks, and he just can't offer that because we're not open. And it doesn't make sense for us to staff a bartender if we're only gonna sell a certain very low amount of drinks that, won't cover our costs for opening. So, in this instance, with the second class license, we will be able to sell to-go beer and wine just from a separate location within the bar, but on the Peace Burger side. And then it will only be to go take out from his side. You can't get to go from our side of the bar, but just if people are getting food, they can get takeout from there.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't been in it, it's you should go first of all. It's very good burgers. But it's a separate room without a connection, and you access it through a totally separate door off the porch.
So the people won't be able to have a beer with their burger at Peace Burger?
No, so they can do that now, but this is for people who maybe want to take food away. We just want to give them that option. Maybe we have specialty beers, specialty wine in the cabinet or cooler. But we'll definitely make sure that they take it off premise and then they're not drinking in the parking lot or whatever. But this is strictly to go. I'm working with Peace Burger to get his staff certified with their Department of Liquor licensing so that they can maybe serve drinks during lunchtime. And then, if there's demand, we would open up for lunch, but there really isn't that much of a demand right now.
Well, this is all being approved by the Department of Liquor Control, or whatever they are. That's what it is.
Yeah,
PLC?
I passed the class. I had to take a separate class for this license. I'm well aware of what the rules and regulations are, and it's just, that's it.
Any other questions or concerns? Great. Is there
Did you want me to stick around I saw we're on the agenda a little bit further down for the third class.
No, you are,
Well,
that's the consent agenda, and we didn't take you off at the beginning of it, that means you're gonna get approved without any discussion.
Okay, awesome.
So,
Thank you.
not a late night. Larissa, you have any questions?
Nope. Well, I guess my only question is, so I know that the way that serving burgers has gone for Aaron, and this may not be something that is, I don't think Aaron is there.
No.
No.
You can invite him, but
Okay, no, it's
we'll
fair
pass
enough.
on the information.
No, I get that. So there have been, as they've been figuring out what makes sense, there have been times where it's only takeout or it's only dine in at Afterthoughts. But the mechanics of people picking up food is pretty similar for both. So I think just being curious how there's going to be a clear distinction between whether or not a customer is planning to stick around and eat their food there versus no, like, is this only going to be during the hours that Afterthoughts is not open, or is this at all times, and just sort of figuring out sorry, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and I get that. I mean, signage would be our biggest deterrent of people just buying a 4-pack or a 6-pack and hanging out in the parking lot or at the deck. I would think that also training the staff to know the difference and to
Yeah.
like watch out for that would be something to keep in mind as well. But really, everyone has been, you know, pretty cooperative with our rules and.
And you guys have been great about signage, so I have
Yeah,
confidence in your signage abilities.
we can make more signs. I'm a good sign maker, I think. So
Okay, that was the only sort of point of clarification that I was
yeah, I
curious
mean
about.
we are already under a microscope with the DLL and the Cannabis Control Board. So we want to do everything that is good and correct, and we are following all the rules, doing everything to a T. So. If any issues come up, please let me know, or I will also try to make it so there's no issues, but we'll see.
It did occur to me, Brian, after I mentioned, like, I don't know that this exists anywhere, that I was wrong. I'm pretty sure, because Lawson's, there's sort of a retail area that you can
That's
buy
exactly
things
right.
to take away.
Yeah.
So I had completely forgotten that
Yeah,
at the time.
and many breweries have this set up where they're pouring pints and then
Yeah,
they have a
actually,
cooler
it's
with.
making sense now that Hillstead has a separate place for retail, separate from the draft room.
Yeah, we're definitely not on their level with the beer and brewing, but if we can offer just something like that,
Awesome.
we're happy to do that.
Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve Afterthoughts Class 2 liquor license.
Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
I,
Thank you, Emily.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thanks.
Back up real quick. This estimate from Pring requires a accepted by signature. Mine, you want it?
Yeah. You can, next item, I'll get it. Is that a pen?
Two choices. in case
New game.
Great. Next item, I just passed out a memo from Town Treasurer Steve Lewis, who would like to invest some of our fund balance, our general fund balance, $600,000 and $1.3 million worth of reserve account ballot funds in 11-month CDs that would be available with no penalty if we needed to take them out prior to the end of the term, and they're guaranteed by the bank with FDIC, so you know they're not at risk. We've done this before. We've done a pretty good job the last couple of years of making interest on some of our reserve funds. He added the question, I don't know if I really need board approval to move from one account to another as long as the money's available, but he thought for the sake of transparency and accountability, it's a good idea to do it, and I agreed.
Yeah,
So-
I agree.
Any questions? Yeah, I just got, he had sent a draft a couple weeks ago, and he was doing 2 million, and I'm trying to remember what I asked about. I think it was a couple of things that I thought we might have some outstanding need for, so he rethought it and dropped it down to 1.9, which I completely trust him.
Mhm. Yeah, and if there's no penalty anyway for an early,
Well, that's my question. I'm reading this as saying, with the ability to withdraw funds next May without penalty.
Yes, next May.
So,
okay,
as
so
long
it's
as
not
you,
no penalty.
as long as you stay the,
Yeah, sorry, yes, he
Okay.
did, and I talked to him this morning, and he did say in May. And the reason that's important is we have to write a big check to the state in June.
Yeah. Mhm. But this, I mean, Sandy was doing this
Yeah.
prior to
Yes,
Steve. I think is,
yeah, if we
Been
have a
consistent.
strong record of not
we've never had an issue of
needing to break it, or, because I'm sure there is a penalty before May, right?
yes, yeah.
Mhm.
But we went through everything, and one thing I asked him, like, if we're doing that little section of sidewalk by Carol, by Lawson's,
Mhm.
where it's dirt, and then it gets to the, where we have the metal panel, just to extend that. If there's any minor expense that would not be available, like we couldn't use the transportation path fund, he said there's no problem with just carrying that and reimbursing it in May. That it'll all show up, it'd be a wash on the books, and we'll be able to do that. We have enough cash flow to do that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Hoping it's still the same interest rate after the disinfectant.
Yeah, I thought the interest rate was,
I'm just on the Northfield website, so 3.6 looks like now.
he might have gotten a deal,
Okay, great.
or it might have gone down since he talked to him, but whatever.
Yeah, that's comparable.
Yeah, it'll still be higher generally than just leaving it in a,
Oh yeah, none of the other ones are even in
Checking
the
account.
twos, so.
yeah.
So is there a motion?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept Steve's recommendation to invest reserve funds and a portion of the general fund, unrestricted fund balance in CDs with the term ending in May of 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Yes. Next item is consider appointing Alice Peel as the representative of the Waitsfield Historical Society to the General White House Commission. And I was a little confused, correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy Mehuron was the Waitsfield Historical Society representative. You were not.
That's correct.
And you were the president of the Historical Society, and you no longer are an officer of the Historical Society.
That's,
That's what
I'm a member of the board
Yeah,
of directors,
no
but I
longer
don't
on.
have an office. I'm not
Yeah.
an officer.
And this is the recommendation of the Historical Society.
Yes, to have Alice replace Kathy.
And Alice has wavered a little bit on this, and said she likely would not be a long-term member, but wants to step in and help out at this time. This is how she explained it to me. I'm surprised she's not here. She knows this is on the agenda, though.
I told her so.
Any questions or thoughts? And we do, I guess as just a reminder, we are going to be taking a look at the White House Commission bylaws at some point in the future,
Which they passed just a couple hours ago, to recommend.
to recommend to the,
Select board.
yep, that's right, I thought they were bringing them up. So, any further discussion? Motion?
I'd make a motion to appoint Alice Peel as a representative of the Waitsfield Historical Society to the General White House Commission.
Second?
Sure, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Alice is doing a lot of work for the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, I was confused and then a little bit surprised that it was yes, then no, and then yes again.
Yeah,
But that's-
she was feeling a little stressed, but I appreciate, she's doing a lot of work, and she also gave me an update that they are bird dogging that grant application for the Meadow Road Bridge and looking for other opportunities through the Regional Planning Commission. Other than the consent agenda, that's all our action items for the night. The next item is just a follow-up to the discussion, the workshop that we had on 9/24/25. And just to summarize really concisely, the funding outlook has changed dramatically in the United States in the last year. We had anticipated greater reliance on federal dollars for the system, and the finance working group of the wastewater working group recommended that we consider a local option tax on retail sales, rooms and meals, and alcohol. And that would require a vote of the town at our March town meeting, conceivably. And it would also provide significant resources through that local option tax for other capital goods and facilities. And the process, it's going to, I think there's going to be a lot of public interest in it. We'll need to have a lot of public outreach and communication. And I guess I don't want to make a decision tonight because there still might be some questions about the specifics of it. The question that I'm still haven't gotten answered is can a tax be earmarked, limited to capital facilities and emergency response? That's the kind of thing that I'd like to see. And I think there's a potential to have a meaningful reduction in the property tax if we were to go ahead with this and spread the burden beyond Waitsfield property owners for paying for our public facilities. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I'll open it up to conversation, but I don't think we need to make a decision tonight other than making a decision to explore it further and start putting the work together to develop a proposal if we decide that a proposal is warranted. Josh, do you have anything to?
Just to your question on like, can we restrict or limit the use of the funds? I'm totally in support of that. I think practically it may be just similar to our reserve funds. Like, if the town voters approve a local option tax, we would start collecting. Actually, we don't really collect the funds. The state collects the funds and sends us the money. I think and we as a town can do what we choose with it, obviously.
What the voters authorize, yeah.
Yeah, so we could put language in the vote. I think we need to talk to our lawyer to see how binding that is, but in practical terms, if we allocate that money to like a reserve, capital equipment reserve fund or something like that, we can segregate those funds so it's not commingled with the rest of the general fund town budget. That would be a practical way to do it. The remaining question to me would be how binding is, like, whatever we put in the vote language. Just getting advice from council on
that would be
how to make that.
Yeah, I want to talk to them
binding
as well. Given the scope of capital needs that it looks like we're going to have, I think most of it, or all of it, will be used on that in the short and medium term. I just wonder how binding of a restriction we want to put on it in case we run into some years where there are not as big capital spending needs, and we could use that to actually give property tax relief in some way. So that was just my one question, or will it just build up in a reserve fund for future infrastructure projects. Those are kind of the choices that, as I see them.
Yeah, my bet is any limitation, future voters could change it. Like, the future voters could say, we don't want a general weight house reserve fund anymore, we'll spend that on sidewalks or whatever. You know, so that's probably, but I think we need to get,
Yep.
you know, be clear on what the parameters of that would be.
Yeah. Outside of the mechanics, I think that the last meeting was focused primarily on wastewater and the suggestion of a lot tax as a way to partially offset the cost, given the change in federal funding, as you pointed out. One thing we didn't talk a lot about, but I think is worth bringing up, is the other projects that are looming large, like the town garage. I think the fire station is probably not too far behind the town garage. You know, the covered bridge, Meadow Road Bridge, there's an ongoing cost to maintain and upkeep to that infrastructure.
We're gonna have a flood again.
Sure. Absolutely. If we guesstimate, and these numbers are rough, but if we guesstimate the cost of that other infrastructure, you know, to replace the town garage, replace the fire station, replace the Meadow Road Bridge, that could be $15 million of bonding that, you know, not all going to happen at once, but those are long-term bonds that would all be outstanding at the same time at some point. And that cost would be in the kind of $1 million a year range. You know, our budget right now is the part not offset. You know, our budget's 2.8 million. Some of that's offset by other revenue. So the part we raise in property taxes is 2.3 million. If we had to add $1 million to the property tax, you know, to the budget to be covered by taxpayers, that's a huge increase. That's almost a 50% increase. So to me, that's, you know, we need to find other sources of revenue somewhere to help offset that. Because that to me is a unsustainable burden to place on the property tax owner.
One thing that kind of stood out to me at the workshop was if we did use some of this funds for the wastewater, it would be kind of front-loaded and likely decrease, but that we wouldn't be paying debt service on the bond until FY27, which makes next year a huge opportunity to put money in other reserves or that reserve and possibly to pay down debt to provide more bonding capacity in the future. I mean, it would just provide a really exciting budgeting opportunity for next year as well as subsequent years. That could really put us off on a good start for all these projects. So I'm trying to find the downside. I did meet with Josh and Sam to kind of go deep into the report last week. Fred and I did. I was surprised about the number. I'm not sure that the conservative number of $750,000, if it's that conservative, it'd be great if it were conservative and were higher, but I still think if that's conservative, that's a big opportunity for the town.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's just not, I think Sam might have recently gotten some more data that I haven't seen, but the state doesn't really collect that data on the mail order portion of the sales tax, so they're kind of guesstimating. To me, whether it's, you know, 600,000 or 800,000, we still are going to have these expenses that we as a town are going to need to cover somehow.
And, you know, the other pieces I want to mention were, you know, approximately three quarters or 74% estimated of the local option tax or tourist tax burden falling on non-residents. And
Excuse me, what percentage?
74% would be on visitors, 26%. Or that's the estimate, of course, it'll vary with you know, the season and that's based on their assumptions that they made, that they went over with you.
It does vary quite a bit.
Yeah.
And one question I had, it varies when you look at that average from other towns. It varies from like, locals paying as little as, under 20%,
Yep.
and also as much as 35 or 40%. One thing I wondered about were, and this was maybe too much to ask them, to look at the demographics of different communities, because I would expect that like our mail order is probably going to be higher than average with more discretionary income here, and it will be a bigger burden on locals. But as I think going through the report and Josh pointed out, there are a lot of exemptions to the sales tax that help people with their basic needs.
Yep. And, yeah, exactly. So I'm in favor of moving forward to explore it further.
I want to thank you for setting up that meeting with us and Josh and Sam the other day. It was helpful. It's very intoxicating to look at those numbers. Affordability is still a concern of mine. At what price is this going to extract from our community? And I didn't understand it was that, you said 70%? I thought it was more like 30%. And I think it depends on what products are being taxed. The good part,
Sorry.
the good part of it is the five of us is going to decide whether or not this tax goes into effect. The voters will decide. But I'm still hesitant. There's poverty in this valley, and we don't see it very well, but it's there. And at what price and where do we hold line on taxes are the questions that I ask myself.
To Fred's point, there was a previous meeting that he mentioned that we should be looking also at how we can tighten the belt. And I feel like it's also incumbent on us to look when we do the budget to figure out if there are places where that can happen. But I also think that realistically, the very real needs of the community, including parts that are impoverished, are not going to be able to be met with the single revenue stream that the town currently has, which is, well, property taxes. And in terms of financial burden on individual members of the community, I feel like if we're picking between the lesser of two evils, if that's the way you wanted to frame it, I can't fathom trying to raise the revenue needed to be able to provide basic things like a safe bridge to cross and safe water to drink with the waste. I feel like the wastewater project is a pretty necessary next step for the community for many reasons. And from what I've seen, I don't see any other alternatives. Like I welcome finding out what other alternatives could look like, but this does seem a sort of like guest tax or visitor tax does seem like the best possible way to address like very real needs for folks who visit and live here without foisting the entirety of that financial burden on just Waitsfield property tax owners.
And renters, which it would trickle down to renters if we had to raise property taxes to that degree. Probably they would pay higher rents too.
So what does it moving forward look like? I guess we should kind of figure out what additional information we want to have and make sure we have a process to engage the voters.
Makes sense to me. Do we need to, should we do everything at the select board level or have a separate, like a wastewater committee to do outreach and answer questions, or somewhere in the middle?
Good question. Yes, I think maybe something in the middle. I don't want it, I would be hesitant to say, let's have the wastewater task force do it?
No,
Because I think this goes way above and beyond
I do too.
the wastewater.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah.
saying a separate,
Yeah.
not have the wastewater.
Modeled after that,
Right.
not,
Okay, yeah, I got it, yeah.
yeah.
You know, the planning district has, they're not a proponent, they want to be a resource, but they offered to continue to be a resource in doing some of this, you know, research and answering further questions, so we should reach out to them. I do think that they did a really good job on that report, and one thing that Josh told me was, as they were talking to Vermont League of Cities and Towns, asking them for information, they weren't getting any. They hadn't done any kind of survey of towns or anything, and when they shared the report, the VLCT asked if they could use that and make it available because they thought that it was really well done.
Yeah, and you know, we have the benefit of 38 other Vermont towns having passed some version of this already, and we can keep going to them, VLCT, for some answers. And then I just forgot to mention, we also have the added feature that the state has increased the reimbursement rate for taxes like this from 70%, which it was in
Yep.
2020, to 75%. So that's an additional.
And that may actually continue to
And they might go
work in
further.
the town's favor, and what's happening is that my understanding is they collect that money from the pilot program, the payment in lieu of taxes program that reimburses towns for lost property taxes when the state owns land. And they were just creating a surplus every year, because as more towns adopt the lot, there's more revenue statewide, so that's gonna likely continue. I don't see
That
that trend
that the
stopping.
percentage will
Yeah.
increase in our favor over time.
Until the legislature figures it out.
This they have with other things.
Yeah, to your earlier comment though, I think we saw with wastewater that, you know, that committee, which I was a part of, put a significant effort into the public education
Yeah.
piece over the next 6 months. You know, if we were to do a vote in March, to put it on the March ballot, that's plenty of time in my view, but like we can't wait till, you know, February and say, oh, what are we gonna do about
Yeah.
that upcoming vote?
Also, if we put it on if we put it on the ballot, it's gonna really complicate our budgeting, because I think we're gonna have, you know, two scenarios. One is, here's our budget, assuming no lot, and then we need to talk to the lawyer about what if we have another item saying, in the event the lot passes, assuming it's gonna be Australian ballot, we kind of rescind what we just did in order to transfer this money into these uses. It'll just be I mean, we won't know whether we're gonna have the money when we adopt the budget, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
So, that'll be interesting. Or we could just say all the lot's gonna go into reserve funds,
reserve funds, yeah.
and then have a really meaty reserve
Yeah.
funds. Which, you know, Dave, I hope that your possibility comes true, and we'll get to the point where we don't have a lot of capital costs.
Would be nice, but yeah, no, I agree that it's not looking extremely likely at the moment.
It looks less and less likely every day, I think.
Yeah.
So, I guess, are we all good? Do we want to form a committee to do more work? And I would be glad to work on it. I don't have, I'll have, my time's gonna be a little limited until the end of November. I'm doing some traveling, I got a work project, but I would have time to work on this. I will be away for a couple of weeks. And I don't know who else might be. Yeah, I know what some of the concerns are gonna be. We voted on this once before, but that was a very, very different scenario, a three-town
Yeah.
It was
fund
it's
without any
convoluted.
details. And it was fairly new at the time, and now we've had really every shopping destination in north central Vermont, you know, Waterbury, Berlin, Montpelier, Barry, Williston, South Burlington, Burlington, all have this too, so we're not putting our local businesses at a, you know, statewide competitive disadvantage.
Yeah, and every other ski town
Every other,
in
you know.
Vermont.
So thoughts on how to proceed?
I could probably help out for a little bit, partially from afar until things kind of free up a little bit for you, Brian. I also want to be realistic about my ability to participate from afar. So I mean, I think I'd be able to work with folks on at least the kind of messaging and sort of communication with the community strategies on the early end, if I can then like pass the baton to you in November.
Yeah.
I think a committee makes a lot of sense. I think we'll need it to get the work done. I think York will have to be a piece of it.
Yeah.
I think Josh and Sam can be super helpful, but this is a town-specific, you know, Waitsfield
Yeah.
specific thing that
Yeah.
they should
Yep,
be,
I agree.
in my view, kind of front and center in that process. They absolutely as a support resource.
Yeah, they indicated that there has been some communication from the other two member towns that they might also want them to help, so I think there'll just be play that resource role.
I think it might be worth also checking in with Eric Friedman,
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce, if that hasn't already happened. I imagine it has, but
I
as a
think
sort of
informally,
similar resource.
yeah, I mean, it might be, I was thinking about that, about reaching out to just get the sense of what some of the businesses who are gonna be affected by this would be. You know?
My data are very limited at this point, but I've heard mixed things, and I think that Eric probably has a better sense of what it feels like for folks who are particularly in retail and sales on the ground.
It was interesting at the steering committee meeting, he shared that they had done a basically voluntary Chamber of Commerce, more than 1%, so, you know, I think like 3 or 4 or something percent to fund the marketing budget in the past.
Oh, that's, yeah. That's
And
right.
that, you know, a lot of the businesses that view the infrastructure and these kind of development things as being also necessary might be supportive, but that it's not apples and apples, but,
Yeah, but
yeah, to
definitely
get their
that should
feedback.
be, we should, that's probably one of the first tasks for a committee is to do some outreach.
Yep.
And Eric, if you've seen the Men of the Mad River calendar, he has nothing to hide.
I asked on October 3rd, but it wasn't on sale yet, so.
So,
Yeah, and then, I don't know, what other representatives we might want to get, but to make sure that we have outreach to people who are gonna be, you know, payors of this,
yeah,
as consumers and, you know, explain, you know, I'm still learning exactly what's covered and what's exempt, but, you know, food, medicine, clothing, stuff like that, and how that's broken down, that you don't pay this 1% extra on, to help get that delineated for people.
John Jamieson still spends his winters in Utah?
He does. Yes.
I think because he was so, he hadn't been for a couple of years, but he was very well plugged into the business community. And he was involved in the last discussion about this, but,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I think he'll be
yeah.
away throughout the whole kind of planning phase.
You want to kind of look for names and come up with some at the next meeting? And start to kind of put a agenda together?
Yeah.
Is there a limit on number of select board members that can be on it, or should we?
If there are more than 2, it becomes a select board meeting. And, you know, maybe that's okay.
Well, that was my question, separate.
Are you interested?
A separate committee was, if we have a committee that's authorized by the select board, is it a select board committee? essentially?
If there's three,
If there's
if there's a quorum,
okay.
because we would be talking about town business. But that wouldn't be the end of the
Yeah,
world.
let's come up with names for the next meeting. I'll look into that part.
So is that, do you want to put it to a vote, just do a straw poll? I feel like there's different levels of comfort, but there's a willingness to move forward with exploring it.
I mean, it's 4-1, go ahead and do it.
So
I can count.
we would be voting to authorize formation of a committee, or?
Do we, yeah, or do you want to do that at the next meeting? I guess if that would be maybe a formal step towards it, and it would be newsworthy.
Makes sense to me to do that. Today, I'll, authorize the formation, but we don't have all the names and the committee's not set
Yeah.
yet. We try to get that set by the end of the month, or,
So are you making a motion? Or are you just saying, let's do that?
I'm saying, let's do that. I'm
Okay.
happy to make the motion.
No, let's just do it. We'll have more detail next time. I'm thinking at some point, Fred, you've mentioned that a lot of people don't know what goes on at these meetings. And of writing something to the paper saying why we're exploring this and what the thoughts are without taking and I could do it just coming from me. I could share it with the select board and we could sign on, however you want to do it, but I was thinking that might be helpful.
I do think that in the past, we've sort of stated that working on how town matters are communicated
Yep.
to the greater community is something that is an area that could be
In need of improvement.
improved on. Yes, there we go. I think this could be a good opportunity to start that,
Okay,
for sure.
Yeah.
I would like to hear more from the community at large.
yeah,
And I think putting something in the Valley Reporter would be advantageous.
okay,
And I wish we would do it for almost every meeting,
yeah,
if it's just bullets. Because people just don't know what we're doing
I agree.
so much of the time.
yeah.
And I'd
Well,
welcome
If
feedback
it
from
rains,
this.
I'll take a shot at it.
Come November, maybe.
It's been hard. This Indian summer. Okay, we'll think about some names, outreach if you run across people who you think would be interested and constructive and, it would be good to get somebody from hospitality, somebody from, retail, if that's out there. And if I get a chance, I probably will, if I draft something, I'll circulate it, and
Great.
we can decide whether you want it to be a board thing, or you're just okay with me to do it myself. It would not be, it would be very factual. Here's the information we've got, here's why we're exploring it, here's what we see as the opportunity, and we welcome public input.
Yeah, and I would add with that, we are, we will, I don't think we're ready to set dates, but we will be holding public forums and
Yeah.
between now and March.
How,
Town meeting day.
the wastewater vote, was there a big public forum at the church, right? Yes,
Yeah.
Several, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we had several, we did,
I spoke at one.
yeah, yeah, we did at least two. We did videos, we did stuff on the town website, we did kind of coffee hour down at the coffee shop. We tried to create as many opportunities for engagement as we could.
Yeah,
And
I
we
wish
actually
we could do that on everything.
Yeah, we got reasonable attendance at those events.
Okay. I think that's the model. Are we set on that? Next item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion on that? And I apologize, the hyperlink to the board minutes, which were posted on the webpage, didn't seem to work, although they were posted on our webpage.
And I couldn't find them on the webpage.
And it's not easy to find.
Yeah, that's true, I can testify to that. So I haven't reviewed them.
Do you want to pull it from the agenda? I was fine with them, but everybody sees something different. How do you want to do it?
I've looked at them and I'm fine with them, but if you want to.
If the two of you looked at them, it's good, I'm good with
Okay.
it.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Thank
Select board roundtable? It's not even 8 o'clock.
Good job.
downright reasonable hour. Amazing.
You have anything, Fred? Dave?
I don't right now.
I know.
Larissa? York, please.
Not-
No, nothing happened.
The
We
moment.
mentioned this last time, but we're moving forward with a committee to look at how to improve town meeting and make it more accessible to parents of small children and working people who have jobs that they need to go to, and try to make it as best attended a town meeting as we can. So if anyone is interested in sharing their ideas for that or even serving on the committee, please reach out.
Thanks for doing that.
Yes. You know, one thought that I had is Josh Schwartz did have some information and looked into some towns that really made an effort. And as a Waitsfield voter, not as a planning district member, that we might want to see if he would be interested in that.
Great, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think.
sure he wants to join another committee.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a member from the PTA, all set, and so just looking for anyone else who wants to share their ideas of of what's very important.
Yeah, I'm forgetting a name. About 10 years ago, I think, there was a petition to go to Australian ballot on the budget, and that was voted on at town meeting. And a committee got together to do kind of have similar discussions. It didn't take it too far, but actually made some changes. It didn't, they had daycare at that meeting, that didn't stick. And there's a person who was very helpful in it. I need to ask somebody for her name, and she might be interested, so.
Let me know. Thanks.
Okay.
Do we know why it didn't stick? Is it just sort of a continuity thing, or?
Yeah, I don't think there were, because there have been, at town meetings before, there's been childcare, there's been refreshments, but nobody really took ownership of it over the years. I think that Jennifer has her hands full just making sure that it's well-staffed and everything runs, according to, all the legal requirements. So I don't think we can expect her to be doing the kind of the.
Definitely not,
Yeah,
yeah,
coffee
balloting
table,
is
yeah.
that's a.
Someone else
Nope.
needs,
Yeah,
someone else needs to take that on.
yeah.
So, I don't think we need an executive session.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Wow.
So we don't have any pressing legal or personnel issues, so
Are you looking for a motion to adjourn?
yes.
Do
I so-
did we do the consent agenda?
Did we vote on it? Yes,
We already did.
We did, okay, cool. Thank you.
Did we?
Is that your
So I
motion?
moved
Yes,
to
we did.
adjourn.
We
Okay, good.
sidetracked a
I
little
just,
bit.
believe
my
you.
brain just
Yeah.
got etch a sketch, so I wasn't sure.
With the
Yeah,
minutes.
you and me both.
And we have a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in
Hesitated.
favor?
All right.
Okay.